Greetings, everyone. How are you today? Another day in this world of mixed up craziness. I'm going to try to bring some truth into it, a little more guided stream, perfection of awareness, techniques, and ideas, and beliefs, and truth, but uh, mainly the truth, how we get to the next step in our spiritual growth. All right, it's not going to be complicated, hopefully. If you accept the truth, want the truth, please stay. This is going to be a workshop, kind of. Uh, it's open to everybody right now. I started it out closed, but I'm opening it now because I don't have too many people that I have to worry about. The people that are coming in are really ready to learn or understand or try to understand something new. So if you're not ready for that, I don't think you would really need to stay here. But if you are, I got a lot to go into, talk about today. So I hope you're ready. So what I want to start with, it's going to be a little complicated, the first part, because most people are not ready for what I'm about to say. All right. And that is, what is the truth? And where do we go with that? How far we want to attain and achieve what we think we want. All right. It's not easy. The spiritual path is the most hardest path you can choose on this planet. And very, very few people decide to do it or try to do it, want to do it, whatever words you want to use about that. But it's going to be up to you what I give you. If you accept it, understand it, try to use it, put it into your life. So I want to start with Jesus. I mean, this isn't going to be a religious talk, hopefully, the way you perceive what religion is. All right. Many people perceive, if you talk about Jesus, it's religious. All right. Contrary to my view, it's not. All right. And what I mean by that, religion is a man made word, and it's based on a belief. We all have a belief in something or even nothingness. And Buddha was teaching about that part of it. So, where do you want to start? I would say put your feet on the ground, look around, you see what's happening on the planet. Try to understand where you are in your life, when you're 10, 20, 50, 100 years old. What is your next step? What do you want to attain in life? Get married, have children, have a house, have a car, have a good job. Is that it? Because that's a program created of being in planet Earth. All right. And I'm not going to go into all the theories and the truth about that. I can tell you my truth, what I know is true. I could go into stories, but I don't want to do that. I don't ever try to use anybody else's stories or man made stories, which I know are not real. A fake story. So let's talk about what I know. And the reason why I'll say I know, and this is going to be a little bit hard for some people, because when I say I know, I'm aware of all my past lives, back to Atlantis and back one lifetime before it. So what we do is reincarnate over and over until we learn what we need to learn before we can leave. So let's start with, this is as low as you can go. Well, hell, hell, hell. No, this is hell. You can't go lower than this. All right, you can drill a hole inside the earth and go inside of it. That doesn't mean you're lower than where we are in this vibration right now. Hell is a place where you're trying to get out of, not trying to stay out of. You're already in it. You need to get out of it. All right, now living as long as you can will keep you here, obviously. If you believe in, there's a couple different definitions, okay? The 5 passions of the mind, the programs that keep man reincarnating. But the one thing that makes all people reincarnate over and over is the word karma. Buddha was right about that. Karma, cause and effect. What you create, you have to pay back. Whatever it is, nobody, not a spiritual healer, Not anybody that claims to be a spiritual person or angel, whatever, they can't do it for you. If you kill somebody, nobody can take that away from you. Nobody. Can't go to a priest and ask for forgiveness. There's no way. Even if you're a Christian, go to Revelations. It tells you what sins cannot be forgiven. You'll be surprised what it says. So every time you went to confession, guess what you were doing? Nothing. Oh, I cursed today. Oh, I cursed today. Oh, I did it. Oh, I did this. Really? Now, do you believe you're a Christian? If you're a Christian, you should follow the Christian way. All right. And what did Jesus say about that? What did he say to people? Do people have a clue? He said to people when he met with them, go out and don't come back. Really, that's in short what he said. Go out and don't sin no more. Once you're aware of what he was teaching, which is called God, you have to be aware of every action and everything you do is being under the surveillance of that at some form. Not God itself, but it has angels and deities and all those other things watching everybody in the lower realms for reasons. All right, we're going to get into that. But right now, it's about you understanding where the teachings came from. Because basically, everybody thinks the most important word on this planet is called love. It could be, but it isn't. And it probably never will be. All right. Well, I love my dog. I love my house. I love my children. I love, 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 love. Do you love the planet? Do you love the world? Do you love animals? Do you love the earth? Do you love plants? Do you love trees? What do you love? You love all of it? No, you don't. Are you going out of your way to help change any of that? Well, I don't do this or I don't do that. No, you're not that person that you think you are. When a person says, I'm going to send unconditional love to the world, and they truly believe it's helping the world. I live with a Buddhist. It's so hard because Buddha didn't believe in God. But when they pray and pray and pray, and I said, look what happened to Tibet, one of the most spiritual places on the planet. Look what happened to it. It was slaughtered by the Chinese. They slaughtered the lamas. They burned down and tore down the temples. And they took it over. Only years ago. But for many years, the lamas were setting themselves on fire in the streets, begging for help, begging for the Dalai Lama to come back, which he can't go in there. He's afraid they will kill him if he does. So, when you pray 6 hours, 10 hours a day, every day of your life, and that happens, don't you think something's wrong? Why pray for other people? Why pray for the world when that's happening? It's called doing something. Get involved. Change something. Jesus, on the other hand, said, if you live by the laws of the place where you live, that's the way it has to be until you realize they're wrong. When you realize they're wrong, you have to change them. All right? So that's the game that we have to play, and we should be playing. But how many people get involved changing reality, changing the laws, changing what's happening? Think about it. How many people understand the word karma? Why they're here? What is life about? You can hear stories and stories and stories. There is only one answer. Not what you think or what somebody else thinks, what somebody feels, what somebody wishes, somebody hopes for. That's all a game mankind plays. They don't want to know where they really came from. They don't want to know anything about the past, really. All their attention's focused on things that cannot help them. Pyramids are not going to help us move forward at any spiritual level. Oh, they were spiritual. They weren't spiritual because they all died and killed each other. Call that spiritual? It's like Moses when he took the people to the promised land. All the people he took and left with died, and it was their children that got there. And then when they got there, they had to kill everybody that was there. Is that spiritual in your eyes? People, think about what you believe in, what you follow, what you accept. I'm going to give you the truth. If you don't like it, you don't have to stay here. If you want to learn more about the truth rather than lies, I'll give you as much as I can. But think about it. Think about what I just said. Moses comes up the mountain, just told by, he wrote the tablets, but just told himself, because he was guided to write the 10 Commandments, really 20. But thou shalt not kill. All right, so he comes up the mountain, looks at what they're doing, has 300 people killed because they were doing things he didn't think were right. Now, Moses was probably one of the highest magicians, black magicians, that lived on the planet. Black magician means killing something. White magician means the opposite. So when he had that opportunity to do something, when he came up the mountain, he decided to kill people. When he walked those people around in circles and circles till they all died, he had those people killed. But see, he didn't realize what he was doing. He was actually creating the place for them to go. The next world, which we're going to talk about. Leaving this planet, not staying here. A promised land isn't on planet Earth. There's no such place. There never will be. This is hell, people. Who do you think controls this? Aliens and Satan. Take your pick. Who's in control of you? One or the other. Or our government. Well, who controls them? So think about where you are, really. What are you doing? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to attain? Are you trying to move forward spiritually? I challenge you right now. Text in the chat room if you're in right now, because it's live, what you believe spiritual even means. All right. Greetings, people coming into the chat room. So if you think you know what spiritual is, write it down. Tell yourself what it means. Then try to tell me what you think it means. All right. So you don't know what spiritual means. Oh, well, I'm spiritual. A lot of people are spiritual. Why? Because they tell you, I'm spiritual. Did Jesus go around telling everybody, I'm spiritual, I'm spiritual, I'm spiritual? No, he didn't say that at all, did he? What did he say? He didn't even take credit for what he did. Most of the things he did, he said, in your own belief, in your own truth, you did what you did. I didn't do it. He didn't claim to heal everybody. He didn't claim all that stuff. He didn't claim all the things that people associate with him. He never wanted credit for it. But then again, if you looked into his eyes, you would change instantly. Well, you should have. I know I did. I was in that reincarnation as a woman. I was at Mary Magdalene. That's why I can tell you the story for truth, and I'll debate anybody on the planet. Anybody. The Pope's the biggest liar. And I write him a letter every day. I mean, these people that tell you stuff that they have no clue about or what they're even talking about. Oh, love everybody, do this and that. Is it helping the planet? We're going to be destroyed, people, within 8 to 10 years in a great number, meaning probably between 80 and 90% of the planet. Think about it. We don't need people right now. But money are creating a wave for robots to do everything. If robots are doing everything, what do they need you for? The few people that'll fix them for a while until they program robots so that they can fix themselves, which they can do. I mean, when you watch Star Trek and Star Wars and all those kind of movies, they're right on of where we are. Just because you don't even believe in UFOs and aliens yet, you're going to be forced to believe it real soon. The government just hired people to help people understand the relationship between aliens and people. They know what's happening. They won't admit it yet. They're going to have to. But the UFO world has its own government, own people, and all that, starting with MJ-12. And I knew a person from that. So yeah, I can tell you a lot about it, but we're not going that way. We're trying to go forward into a spiritual place, which very few people can take you or even guide you to get yourself to get there. What are you going to do to get to a spiritual place? Well, the first thing is Well, that's a good point. That's basically the starting point, John. Be aware of God. And then you leave. It's not that simple. You have to learn what you got to do. You have to learn how to get out of your body. You have to learn how to travel. You have to learn all those other things as well. Everybody dies and go to the astral plane. We're going to get into that. But when people say they're spiritual and they're doing this and all that. So I'm going to get into the realms of God, but I just want to finish about what Jesus was teaching. Because, when they talk about Jesus and he was God, which he was, and he never said he was, never ever did he say he was God. He always said my Father, but why he said my Father, people could not understand the word God. What was a God? Aliens, demons, what was God? The Egyptians followed aliens, the Mayans followed aliens, the Aztec followed aliens. I mean, it was really the only thing in Mexico. And they're fine, and I could go into this, but I'm not. I'm just tell you this. In Mexico, there's a whole city where they're mining thousands of artifacts, and every one of them's called with aliens and ships and the history of aliens and how and all that. So what's that have to do with anything? A lot. There are multiple races on this planet, and they're no longer here. Why? All right. Why is the number of people more than ever? Why do we keep growing? If we're all moving to a spiritual level and leaving, the population should be getting less. Well, we got aliens reincarnating into humans now. And we got a lot of humans coming back because they didn't learn enough to leave. Can you understand that part of it? Now, how do you go about learning what you got to learn before you can leave? Well, the first thing is to let go of everything you think you know. What you believe to be true. All right, what does your belief system tell you? Hold on, I can't get into my chat room. I'm trying to get down here. Okay, all right, now I'm back in there. Sorry about that. All right. As we go along, you need to write some notes down for yourself because they're going to help you. It's not going to help me. All right. In the long run, these little notes you put will help you think about things that you need to think about. Why are you here on planet Earth? What is your true goal? Again, don't say a house, a car, family, children, and all those things. That's physical things. Physical doesn't relate to spiritual. And you want to know why I would say that? Jesus said it's not what goes into your body, it's what comes out. When you go to the bathroom, when you throw up, when you do those things, you're a disgusting entity. Oh, well, it's gross. I always hated every aspect of the body myself all my life. And I still think it's gross. And I believe that what Jesus said about it is 100% true. Nothing good comes out of your body, never mind your mouth. How many people could go without cursing? Cursing God. And it's funny, most people that aren't in a religion will curse out Jesus or God. People that are in Christianity will still curse out Jesus or God. Buddhists will curse out Jesus and God. Everybody has to curse them out. I was in a religion called Ekankar. My wife used to say the same thing. I said, well, why don't you curse out the Mahanta, the spiritual leader of Ekankar? So, people don't do that. Everybody has to relate it to Jesus. Why? Don't you think that's some kind of weird thing? That anywhere you go, that's what they always say? And they use God and like, if you believe in the commandments, thou shalt not use God's name in vain, which everybody does, 99% of everybody. So where are you considering yourself spiritual? Where is your destination? What are you doing here? What is your next step? Do you even have a clue? Do you want to know what it is? I mean, yeah, becoming aware of God is the most important thing. But that's one aspect of what you have to do and become. You can't pray to something if you don't know what it is. So praying to God, if you don't know what it is like praying to a tree or a rock. Why? What's the difference? Well, God listens to me. God protects everybody. God does this. God does that. Really? Prove one thing. How many people get hit by a car, have a disease, die, lose their arms, legs, head, get all those kind of things, raped and shot, and all those words? God's protection? Do you understand God's protection? No, you don't, because you're not aware of what spiritual means. Then the next word you need to learn is what soul is. You being soul in a body, the body is not you. You and your soul and your body retain the same space. And they're in constant battle. Soul tries to make you do things, and mind tries to make you do things. Mind makes you do things that it's a program. Soul tries to make you do things that'll help soul learn what it is. So that's the only way you're going to start understanding what spiritual even means. Now, the other word, I just joined a workshop, a group of people and everything else about, reincarnation. All right? Just because you reincarnate doesn't mean you're better, because you're not. You're coming back here. Just because you die doesn't make you spiritual. What are you? You're a soul leaving the body, going to the astral plane, waiting to get your decision where you're going to go next. You don't even have that choice. Oh, I can determine. And you hear people say, I'm going to come back as this. I'm going to do that. No, you're not. You're coming back means you don't even know where you're supposed to be going. You're locked into the program of being in this reality and thinking it's better or good or the best place. It's heaven on earth. No, it's not. It's hell on earth, not heaven. Now, let me go into this before we start going into the worlds and stuff. Your body, okay, here. I can cut your fingers off, your hands off, your legs off. I can poke you, stab you, suffocate you, burn you, freeze you. All right? Your soul body, can't do any of that to it. You can't cut it in half. You can't blow it apart. You can't shoot it. You can't do any of those things. If you could start understanding that, you'll realize what you are here. Locked in a box. And what's even worse, the world is becoming locked in a bigger box. And that's going to become worse as the New World Order creates UN Agenda 21-30. Check that out, because that's where you are, where we are, and it has nothing to do with heaven. Has nothing to do with spiritual. Nothing. So I just want to check, did anybody write what spiritual means in the chat room? I doubt it. I don't think anybody can. All right. So now where we're at. You're paying off your karma. Are you aware how to pay off karma? Well, not by doing things that hurt other people, that's for sure. What you do to yourself is, I won't say it's really bad karma. It's a little bit of karma that you can work out easily. Stop doing it. Smoking, drinking, drugs. All right? Gambling. If you're in a family, you're taking away from the family. And you don't have the right to hurt other people. Never did. But mankind always believed that. The white race is probably the most evil race out of them all. They're the ones that like killing. Seriously. So, now, I just want to go into this. Don't listen to scientists, the government, storytellers, even in the UFO world, which I'm in and have been in a long time. The lies and the stories are so twisted. They're still talking about Tic Tacs. I filmed ships for 20 years, 25 years. I saw my first ship in 1958. I was really close to it. So I saw a ship land in my yard 12 years later. I saw an alien. So, it wasn't hard for me to believe it. When you see something and you're not on drugs and you're not drinking or whatever, it suddenly becomes part of your life. Now you have to adapt that to who and what you are. I'm not the only one in this universe. There is other things. There is this. There is that. But does that change what you need to do? What you need to be, what you need to accomplish before you leave this realm? Of course not. I mean, you can be praying to Satan, which most people do. Under the disguise, they don't know who they're praying to, so they're just going to pray. Help save me. Just because you say the word God doesn't mean God has to do anything. All right? Or it will. I mean, that it has to or it will do anything. It is not dealing with people on earth. Sorry, the belief God is protecting everybody. From what? Not from dying. Not from pain and suffering. So where's the protection that people believe that they have? Christianity took that so far in the wrong direction. Jesus' own disciples helped kill him. Mary Magdalene had to finish his teachings. So she had all the abilities Jesus had, and they don't even give her credit for that. Oh, well, guess what? In France, they actually have the skull of Mary Magdalene. It's inside a giant temple on a big pedestal and everything else. Incredible. If I would have known where it was and all that, when I was a little bit younger, I would have tried to go there. All right. But what are we doing now? What are you going to do? What are you going to do with the rest of your life? Nothing? Have more children? Go shop and play sports and get involved with what? Nothingness? What does that lead to? I mean, you got to entertain yourself while you're here. But when you don't understand what's beyond that or what's more important than that, knowingness is the most important word about spiritualism. Knowing there is a God. Second to that is knowing God. Knowing what God does and does not do. In all my workshops, I always take people out and say, look, get a pencil and paper and write what God is and what God isn't. And you can't say God is everything. You can't say that. You got to write down everything you think God is. And you got to write down everything you think God is not, which is nobody can even understand that because, oh no, God's everything. How could it not be anything? Well, because it isn't. It isn't the delusionary God that people believe in. It is not. All right. I mean, if that's what it wanted to do, it could be that, but it's not going to be because it's not going to help soul move forward. So we reincarnate over and over. I figured out for myself how many times I had to reincarnate. And you go from one thing to another to try to learn what you think you're supposed to learn when you realize you're putting all your attention on the wrong thing. Going to college doesn't help you become spiritual at any level. My brother went to college and he went to St. Peter's College and it was a religious college. And he became an atheist. So does that help? Does it help anybody? Debate. The word debate. Debate means somebody putting their truth on a line for what they believe in against somebody else that thinks they have the truth on it. And I said, I will debate anybody on this planet anytime about God, Jesus, aliens, Satan, any of those words. I know what I know about them. And I would say that more than most people. Most people don't even believe in Satan. They believe in an angel, but they don't believe in Satan. Or they just cross them out of their memory. Well, I don't deal with them. I don't have to. But the whole planet's being controlled by it. The whole planet. Not just one little section or one little group of people. No matter what religion, there's over 2,000 religions. But let's start with the two most populated religions, Christianity and Muslims. Christianity being the highest, and then Muslims being the second highest. And you're talking about billions. So deduct that from the rest of the number. Let's bring it down to maybe, say there's 8 billion people. Bring it down to 5 billion people. Then you start with Hinduism and all the others. All right. Hare Krishna, Jehovah's Witness, and you can go on. The Galactic Federation. I mean, all these people that follow groups and beliefs and ideas. The scariest part, you know the saying, follow the blind follow the blind? You know what that means? Somebody that doesn't know anything is following somebody else that doesn't know anything to learn nothing. Okay, the first plane, all right, which is the Earth plane, where we are, the physical world, the universe, the galaxies, that's all a part of the first plane. It's not like you go further out into space and you get into a higher dimension. No, it's not. You don't. There's 3 dimensions here, not the ones they tell you about. I mean, when you start like in art and stuff, you learn that a page with flat figures, first dimension, 2-dimension, when you actually draw like lines and make it 3-dimensional. All right. When you have a physical object, 3-dimensional. And then you go into 4th dimension and then inner dimension. Well, each one of those dimensions, the first 3, all right, have 3 dimensions within that. So when you hear about CERN, SETI, and all these different words, where are they going? What are they dealing with? They're dealing with those 3 planes. In the physical, it has nothing to do with the spiritual realms. When you hear the UFO world and they go on about this and the good aliens and all this go, and they're going to take us here and do what? They're not going to teach you about a real God because they don't know. They have never did one beneficial thing for the human race. Any race. Oh, I work with the good ones. I talk to the good ones. They take me good places. Really? Where is any shred of proof of anything important coming out of that? Even Billy Myers, 1950, he wrote 100 prophecies he was given. About 89 of them came true. He was working with an alien called the Pleiadians, all right? And they could time travel. And he was capable of working with them for a while. A good friend of mine started working with them on their ships as well. Probably a lot more than Billy Myers was, because he didn't come up with inventions and technology. The person I'm talking about is Fred Bell. Not Art Bell, Fred Bell. And he was killed about 3 years ago, at the end of Jesse Ventura's show, when the first thing Jesse Ventura said, "Oh, aren't you afraid they'll come after you?" He goes, "No, I work for the government." And he goes, "Well, what about me?" "Well, you're too hard for them to take you out." He went to his hotel room and was killed. I'm not going to say killed. He was dead in his hotel room 2 days later. Never even left. He worked on the HARP system for the government when he was young. He was a genius when he was little, so that's why the government took him. And the government does that. You're going to hear stories. I have multiple friends that were taken by the government, thinking that it's going to be better to work with the government. Maybe, some way, if you want money, if you do what they tell you. Not if you go against it. So, we're going to talk about heaven, right? What do you want to call heaven? The first realm is the astral plane. That is heaven to people, to all people. It's what you perceive when your physical body dies, all right, what's left. Hold on, I just want to say. I didn't see the second part of his question. That's a part of a question, sorry. Well, if you want to put the other part of the question up, I can't see it. So, the first step, making the decision that you want to move forward. Making the decision you're not going to be swayed and pulled into every story you hear. You're not going to accept all the lies. Any lies. Any one lie could keep you tied here. Demons, aliens, even people. Oh, she's spiritual. Why? Because she talks about spiritual things? I don't say I'm spiritual. I really don't. I say I'm on a spiritual path, searching for the highest truth. Period. Always. Does that make me spiritual? Oh, yeah, well, yeah. No, it doesn't. Spiritual means you understand God. There's no reason to be here. That would be the definition of spiritual. Because now you don't have to be here. Excuse me 1 second. But when you get ready to die, just think of your personal life. You find out tomorrow that you got 10 days to live. What are you going to do? Run around and party? Is that what you're going to do? Get drunk 10 days? Try to have sex for 10 days? What are you going to do for the 10 days? What if it's 5 days? And if it's a year, you're going to have a little more time to try to debate what you can do, what you can't, and all that. But whatever time frame you had, and it's the day before you're going to die, what do you say to yourself? Oh no, I'm leaving this world. Now what? Right? Do you have a clue what's going to happen? I joined a group on reincarnation, and there's a serious reason why I did, but I didn't even get involved with the group yet, because most people have a death experience, and they turn that into the most important thing in their life. You know, they become super spiritual, and they become this, that. No, you don't. I listen to people's stories about death experiences. It has to do with the mind. What the mind thinks, what the mind feels, what the mind can understand. All right? As a being, we don't need the body if we don't stay in this world. But if we stay in this world, we need the body. It's like here, you're going to have a car to drive around. The astral plane, you don't. You don't need a car. You don't need a submarine. You don't need a spaceship. You don't need anything. So it's quite different. So people that are so attached to these things, where are they going? Nowhere. How do you expect to get somewhere when your attention's on all these things that don't help you understand what soul is, what it's supposed to do, what it's going to do, what it can do? Sure, there's things that it can do, but most souls never attain that. Souls think they can do a lot of things with the mind programming it and saying, oh yeah, you can fly, let's build a plane. All right? But that's still saying on planet Earth, you want to leave your body, you do drugs. Where do you go when you do drugs? Where do you think you go? It's not to the realm of heaven. Even though people say, yeah, I went to heaven when I had this death experience. I met God, I met Jesus, and all those kind of things. Once in a while it happens. But does a person learn from that? I know people that say they met this person, that person, and all this stuff. And I'll ask them, what did you learn? And they can't say it because they don't know. Do you know what you're attaining? How much you can attain in this lifetime? You can attain the highest level and go into the fifth realm when you leave here. Imagine that, instead of going through second, third, fourth, in years of time on each one. But that doesn't happen too often. Not at all. So, getting to this place of death, you're on your dying bed now. And you're starting to feel heavy, starting to feel your eyes closing. What do you think you're going to see? What do you think you want to see? God standing there and say, come in my hand and I'm going to save you. What do you think you're going to happen? What is happening at that point? Your body's dying. All right. I'm going to fly away, or these different things. But what are you doing? As the blood starts slowly slowing down, going through your heart stops, your brain stops, whatever. What's happening? What is your last thought? Oh, I'm dying. All right, now what? You're not prepared to die because you don't know anything about what's going to happen. Meaning, you're not going to be able to do things that you should be doing if you were an aware being. These people that tell you all these things, it's not like that. Heaven is called the astral plane. And it's not like it's the most beautiful place in the world. It's a little above this world, a little better, but not 10 times, 1,000 times better. But when you're there, you will think so because you don't have to eat. You don't have to do certain things. You pick an age, 26, 36. You could be that age, but you'll be that age the whole time that you're in that realm. You don't age, which is a good thing for a lot of people, or believe that it's a good thing. But most people will pick the most healthiest time in their life when they thought they were in the most perfect shape. Something magnificent, a submarine. Well, you could create things, yes, but you don't need them. You don't travel in ships and planes and things like that. You don't have to. All right. You could be in spots. You say, I want to be there. You're there. You don't have to travel to get there. You don't have to eat. You don't want to eat. You eat whenever you want. You can do a lot of things that makes it seem like it's the best place to be. So what I'm going to tell you, if you get to the astral plane, when you die from here, and your karma's paid off, you get to stay there. All right. But you're going to have a lot of learning to do. And like I said, you usually don't get to stay there until you learn enough to be able to take care of yourself when you're there. Right here we have 2, 3 angels guiding us all the time if we listen or look for them. And you should, because you're not going to be able to understand what you're looking for when you leave your body the first time, 10 times, 100 times. And it would be beneficial to have somebody that knows where you should go. And they're here just to work with you. Not God, but the angels that work with you are. So it becomes a lot different, people. Are you ready for that? You need to be. Because what's happening to the world right now means a lot of people are going to die a lot faster and sooner than later. All right. My partner almost died. And I mean, she died 3 times. They brought her back 3 times. And they had to put a pacemaker in her right after she got the shot. Kennedy Jr. comes here and says, if you get the shot, there's 30% chance you're going to have a heart attack. Imagine that. But it gets worse if you know what the UN Agenda 21 is, what's happening with that, what's going to happen with that, why they were going to eliminate the population. Again, all you hear is lies. Musk lies more than anybody. And people listen to him? 2 months ago. He said, people, you need to be an aware being, understand what artificial intelligence is. And what's he say 2 weeks later? Well, I'm going to eliminate all the simple jobs that we don't need and put robots in there to do them. So he tells you one thing and then he tells you another that's actually contradictory to what he just told you. As that happens, people are needed less. I mean, Walmart already had robots loading the shelves and things like that already. So look at the car, look how it drives. They say it's almost 200% better than a human driving a car. I guarantee it's going to make mistakes, but saying it's equal to that? Really? So it's up to you. Are you ready to understand what you have to do, what you have to attain, where you're going to go? Well, let's go to death. You're dying. Your soul is ready to leave, has to leave. It steps out of the body. Who's it meet? Where's it go? Well, what's the astral plane? Am I there? Do I do what? If you don't know what you got to do, guess what? It's not going to be good. A lot of lost souls get stuck here because they don't know anything. Usually they have their karma so bad and they don't know anything, so they're not even allowed to go into the astral plane and stay there. All right, they die and they come right back. So you've got a lot of decisions to make in a short period of time. Can you keep up with it? Are you ready to? Are you going to do the things you need to do now? Not tomorrow, not the next day. You don't have a choice, people. You're going to be forced to deal with the garbage, and then you're going to be able to live and enjoy the good. Money, government taking away everything, and all this, being forced into FEMA camps and all that stuff. Are you ready for that? And then everybody else says, "Oh, I'd rather just get on a ship and go somewhere with the aliens." To do what? You see, people live in this, I say, la la land. Now, Buddha would say the illusion. And it is the illusion you create to live in. And it's not beneficial for you. And it's not going to help you attain anything you need to attain when you leave here. So, you're in this space floating around. Some angel comes to you and says, "Hey, this is what you're going to do." What? You get to stay here another year. Okay, another year goes by. Oh, well, we got to be here for another 2 more years. You stay another 2 years doing what you're doing. About nothing. All right. And then he says, "Okay, now you can go back. You go back to planet Earth." What? What do I want to go back there for? At least that's what you should be saying. If you're aware, oh, now I could go back to my family, I could go back to here. That doesn't happen. And even if it did, they're not going to recognize you. You don't go back to the same body ever. People, I do this workshop so that people could open their eyes a little more than they are and understand that there's so much they have to do before they can leave in a good way. Let me just check one thing here. God is an underachiever. No, mankind is an underachiever. Mankind doesn't achieve anything. All right. Hold on. Let me get. I got to pull up the chat room. It's not coming up. Okay. What? I can't get it to move. What's going on here? My chat room just died. Sorry about that, people. Let me see what happens here. I'm just putting something in there, see if it moves. All right. I got it. No, I don't. Well, sorry, I'm not going to spend my time in that. I don't have too much time. All right. Getting back to where I was trying to get to. So now you're going to be there for a couple years. You'll take on an age. You'll do things. You'll learn some stuff. But guess what? When you come back here, you're going to forget it. You're going to forget all of it. And you're going to go through the same thing all over again. Does that sound like something you want to do? I sure hope not. All right. When we come back in reincarnation, some souls are starting to remember their past life at least, which leaves the gateway open for you to become more aware a lot sooner. All right. And as that happens, it gives you that ability to really learn something different. But most people aren't ready. They're going to get into the same bandwagon, sell drugs, do drugs, drink. Now, you ever wonder why? I'd say about 85-90% of the planet drink. Why? Are they bored with life? Can they deal with life? Is life really important to them? And I'm sure you can answer those questions. But when speakers tell you you're everything you need to be, you got it all, you can do all this, you can attain all that. What can you attain? God realization? No, you can't. Not by doing sales and marketing and any of those words. It's not going to give you self-realization. It's not going to give you God realization. Usually what takes place is you have to have an out-of-body experience at least once. And remember it. After that point, your eyes are open a little. You're looking for the right thing now. But if that doesn't happen, you're not becoming aware of anything important. Well, I went to school. I studied 4 different languages. And yes, so. You could talk to more countries, but so what? Does anybody have anything important to say here anymore? The government's taking everything away. Well, that's because we're not aware of what's happening. We're not aware how we can change it. We're not aware of doing anything. So in the astral plane, it's the same thing. You're looking for how to get around, what to do, and all those kind of things, and then suddenly you're back here again. Being born, and you're at the baby state, so you don't know a thing. Soul does. But the mind is already blocked, completely blocked. When it becomes one, as a child becomes a little bit aware of itself, can't speak, can't talk, but it's going through a lot of things. And then as it grows between 1 and 4, all those words, angels, deities, and demons, and all those kind of things go through the child's mind because it sees them. Now, is that beneficial? Is it helping? Hope it should be. All right, let me just see what I got in this chat room here. All right, somebody says, is this the real Earth? No, this is not a real Earth. It's just the Earth that you're stuck on. Real in what way? Buddha says it's the dream, the illusion. But if this was all an illusion, if all life was an illusion, Why would you want to be in it? What would you attain? What would you do? Why would you want to be in that? If that was it, I would say, God, if you're real, just take me out of this picture completely. It's a useless case, useless cause. I don't want to be this vegetable in this stupid thing. I mean, The Matrix, the movie, is right on. Go see the new Matrix and check out the ending. Incredible. Exactly right. Exactly what's happening. The whole movie, you need to watch it. The person that's doing that, the two people that are involved with that, are incredible. But are you working hard to attain that? So I said, people, look, we got these worlds to go through. Let's start with the physical, where we are. Then we go to the astral plane. And then as you stay aware, if you can stay there, learn how to travel and things like that, then the next thing is the silver cord. How do I get rid of it? I want to travel beyond this realm. Very few people can do that as well. It seems like every time you take a step more, less people can do whatever is happening. And that's the truth. The higher you go, the less people are going to be there. Jesus said that the least following, the religion with the least followers, will be the most truest path. Oh, that's not in the Bible, sorry. But it's what he said. So here's the thing, people. When you get past the astral plane, you're going to have to go through 3 deities, I call them little gods, that are going to judge you. And you get judged. You remember the old phrase, but the Catholics say, you get judged by St. Peter. He didn't like what you did. He kicked you out and all that kind of stuff. But you get judged by a god, a little god, a deity, and they decide if your vibration's high enough to take the next step. Kind of simple. Are you? Is it ready? Do you know where you're going? Do you know what you're going to do? At that point, you have to know. So, think about that, people. Because now when you get past the astral plane and you close your eyes and the deities look at you and they say, well, you can go to the next realm. When you go into the mental plane, things change again. Because now every aspect of what you are, meaning this body, and probably you pick 26, 27. All right. Why is it my... All right. Hopefully everybody had an out-of-body experience. It's the first step to understanding what it is. How do I get rid of that now? I got that up there. Oh no, I don't want to be here. Sorry about that. All right. Now let's go into the third world. I don't know how many worlds we're going to get into, but third world, every aspect, what you see, your ear, eye, nose, throat, your fingers, and all that, starts changing. It's like if you were put in a machine and you were slowly disappeared. And basically you are. You're becoming a light rather than a solid object. The light around you is brighter. All right. Now you can say you're becoming spiritual. Because you now are that light. All right. You are not before. So all the times you hear it over and over, I am spiritual, I am spiritual. I am the light. Well, you don't become the light until you become a master in the next realm. So when you go into the third world, you're no longer being forced to the idea of male and female. Something that might stop a lot of people from even deciding to move into that space. All right. A dream is a sad word because most people live in life and dream and say it's real. They dreamed with aliens and they took them to a good place. They saw great things and all those kind of things. Dreaming, if you understand it, I work with dreams for a couple of years, and you need to learn that too if you're going to be here for a while, because your dreams tell you much about your past lives as well as they do what's happening in your life. Somebody named Stephen Greer is doing a workshop on that, telling people how to interpret your dreams and how to make them happen and all that kind of stuff. But is it important? See, people's level of importance or understanding what the word is limited to the mind right now. You let go of mind, which you do when you let go of the body, you're dealing from soul at that point. And that's the most important place to be. All right? From then on, it's a constant growth. As that happens, you do more things there than you could ever imagine. Your freedom is actually becoming the word freedom. It doesn't exist until you get there. In the astral plane, you're still under a lot more control and everything else. But when you get into the mental plane, it's only got, if you multiply it by 1,000, you probably get to where you would be at that point. And each step, one of those steps, creates a better place for you to be. The things you see, the temples, and it's no longer about sex. Soul doesn't need sex. Soul doesn't have to have try to produce a baby, because it's not going to. It's not about producing anything anymore. It's individual soul, what you are, one thing. All right, what are you doing from there? So, we keep moving worlds to a higher next one, to the next one, to the next one. But every time you do that, you lose more of yourself. What you assume yourself to be, what you assume yourself have to eat, and all those kind of things. Can't do it. Nope. So here's the thing, people. I'm going to end it now. But we only got to the third world. In the third world, you're going to see beautiful things. Your mind's leaving every aspect of all the programmed ideas that soul's still holding on to. And it has to let go of all of it. All right. And then you move into crystal cities and things like that, which are incredible. And it's no longer what you perceive life to be about. And then now what can you do? I'll tell you, it gets better every realm you get into, to the point when you reach the soul plane and you're that self, you're yourself as soul, completely aware of who and what you are, what you can do, and what you're allowed to do. You're not blocked by doing it, because you don't go from one world to the next without getting rid of the things that you're not allowed to bring there. Meaning thoughts of evil, stealing, robbing, and anything. Any of those things. Good, bad, or indifferent, however you want to look at it. Some people say this is good even though it's bad. But anything that interferes with the spiritual laws. And the most important spiritual law that exists here is the first law of non-interference. You can't go into somebody's life, relationship, or anything without being invited into it. If you do, it's an invasion of space. So, I hope you got something out of today. I'll start with this world next week, or maybe before then. But we're on world 2 now, the astral plane, going into the soul plane eventually. It's 5 levels, 5 steps, and when you get there, there's multiple steps from there on. So, people, please, I want you to ask questions. If you have a problem, call me, text me, basically Skype me, Hawksblood11. All right, you want to know more about a question about specific things, about soul, death, and all those words, I'm going to get into it, but you need to ask yourself, what don't you know and what do you know? Let it all out, people. Till next time. All right? Do your meditation if you can. And I went into that already, but I'll go into that next week as well, because you need to start figuring a way to become spiritual, to look and find it, to understand it. Meditation is only the starting point, but it's the first step in that. Leaving the body is the second step. Meeting with your angels is part of the second step as well. All right, then understanding the silver cord, how far you can go, and the limits and all that. And that you got to break as well. So there's just so much you have to do. So much to do and so little time to do it. I'm not saying it's going to be bad if you get stuck on the astral plane. It's better than coming back here. Look at what's happening here. It's hell. And it's not going to get better anytime soon. So with that, close your eyes, sit back, and say, what is my next step? What am I going to do? How am I going to get there? If I don't ever hear from you again, or you don't ever come to my site, you're going to have to still face yourself one day and say, what did I learn? What am I going to do? Who am I really? All right, people. Peace, love, compassion. Whatever you need in your life, hope you get it. Well, that's it, people.